We're on to the side stand.
Yeah.
Now this has got honey into it. Feels a little bit heavy. We'll just go right to the bottom.
Just like we're doing here.
Stand right to the bottom.
Yeah.
They don't have a local. They don't have a local client.
This has a feeder into it, which has nectar in it.
So if they have a client, you have to upload it to the web all the time. Some people don't want to do that.
Here we have a foundationless frame, partially drawed out on the outside. It's got some honey they're storing into it and a little pollen.
So if you want to see the pollen,
Is that a good amount of pollen that's stored there? Or?
Well, there's some pollen in some of these here.
Yeah, I
See
can
those
see.
there?
Is
And you
that
can see some
sufficient?
honey glistening, which might be honey or it might be sugar water. So we'll set this one aside.
can we have that frame real quick and hand it around?
Well, they want to pass it around, you can pass it around.
If you want to see the pollen in it, take a look. You know how you see it is you hold it up to the sun
Here's
and you can
another
see where the pollen
foundationless frame.
is. When the sun shines through,
You
it
got some
really...
larvae in there. You got the pollen. You got honey. You got some that's about ready to be capped.
I've seen a lot of white pollen coming in.
Yeah.
Not just
That's most likely is it's either corn if it's light with just a little tint,
Yeah.
or it may be your white snake root.
Yeah.
I don't see any right here, but there is white snake root on down below here. Now here's another one with brood, eggs, pollen, honey. Here's the queen. Here's the queen.
Oh, yeah.
I bought a marker off a stand this year and I've been marking my queens.
Marks everything now.
That's why it makes it easier to see things.
Even marks drones. That's what I told him to get started. I said,
Now I
mark the
will
drone
put her
first.
in there next to
Yeah,
the frame, put
then
her
mark
right
the
back,
queen.
and then I'll move the next frame out and leave her together in between there. There's one on top with a whole bunch of yellow socks on, big
So
yellow
explain why you did that.
Huh?
Tell them why you did that. Left the two together.
All right, I left the two together as the queen will stay there and you're less likely to damage her. Now here's another one with some brood. There's also some very young larvae. There's some medium larvae in there
And how do you know the difference?
by the size of it. And here's some honey pollen of larvae of different stages. So this you're going to want down there too. Here's one with yellow socks on, which is your pollen. This, by the way, is the hive that I took out of Main Street Manor. It's a mixture.
Some are white and some are dark.
It's a mixture. The majority of them's dark. Now, I'm not sure if they requeened or not. I suspected that they requeened. I've had a couple. In fact, I got one that's got a queen cell down there now on the other side. And that hive has had 2 queens in it since I split them. Now, here's another one. You take notice, these are foundationless frames. I've been putting X wires on some of these. Now I've started putting 4 wires across. I've got a tapered groove on the top of my upper bar here, which I just rub a little wax onto, and they draw it out just like that. I'm going to a lot of foundationless frames. The only time I use foundation is in a colony that I'm really trying to build up quick, or something that I requeen to help them fill out. That doesn't have a lot of foundation. But wherever I can, I'll slip a foundationless frame in between here and let them draw it out.
So you put the wires in first, you know.
I put the wires in and rub a little wax on the top of the bar for them to start drawing out. And as you can see, they've done a very nice job.
I have some of these that are 3 hives.
All right, this here one was another foundationless frame.
But it's a special frame, isn't it, Mom? There's a V on the
Basically,
top.
all it is a frame with a V on top, like my top bar hives. I put wire into it, and I put it in between a drawn-out frame. Because if you don't, they'll build cattywampus comb into it. All right, now this one here apparently had foundation into it. And here's one of the hairpin clips, but here's 2 wires for the center. Here we've got some cat brood, some stored honey.
That's a normal frame. Nice egg water, nice color white, they're not gray, they're not broken. It's a good healthy frame. You see any eggs in there? Yeah, you see the larvae in there. I see the larvae. Yeah.
All right, they don't see any larvae. They're kind of backfilling it with honey.
Roger, have you been feeding these particular hives?
I've been feeding these for, I had quit feeding them. They did real well, and I quit feeding them for a while, and then I felt they needed more for winter, and so I started feeding them again.
And you took this out of the hotel when? What?
Oh, it was probably around June, and they really did great, but then we had the Darth.
Then the pollen will be right around the ring.
Now this one here just has some honey in, and that one's empty.
And he's on the 8th frame in, which is the outside of the box. If you went to the talk last week from Dr. Connor, he talked about
And this one
chimney
here-
hives.
This one isn't even all the way drawn out. So this is one, should be moved up to the top for sure. Nothing into it.
You running 10 frames or 9 frames?
10.
10?
Alright, there's another frame. Draw it out on one side. Just a little capped honey here from before.
Is that your outer frame?
Yeah, that was the outer one.
Will you change the position of that, Roger, when you put it back? Or leave it
Yeah, I'll put them all on the top. I'm going to move the brood and stuff down. Here's another one. Nothing. This has got some weight to it. It's got honey and pollen. So I guess I better move this down to the outside, even though it ain't capped honey, because it is quite full. Here's another one they're drawing out. Surely leave that one in the top.
How many empty frames do you need?
Shouldn't have any.
How many empty frames do you need?
All right, here's one that's heavy. They're backfilling with honey. It's got brood into it. Hey, Stan. This has got, they're backfilling with honey, got brood into it. Put it towards the outside on the bottom.
Oh, you want all honey on the outside nectar?
I haven't got any all honey.
All right, well, put that in there then, yeah. I wouldn't put it on the outside, yeah. Put it 1 or 2 frames in, yeah. Where'd you pull it out of?
Out of there.
Out of the
You want
top.
to put it in over here, yeah, okay. Put that one to the outside, right, because you don't have no honey in there. We'll fill that one out. There you go. And keep the brood in the center, nice and warm. Keep all the brood together. Okay.
All right, here's another one that's got some weight to it. That side ain't drawn out, but they got honey in this one. I think I'll put that one on this side here. Honey to the outside.
Got a frame for you to hand pack, Roger, before you take another one out.
All right, wait a minute. All right, now here's an example of some of I tied in there. This is from the original hive. This is from the original hive in Main Street Manor. Now this I had put on with rubber bands. They attached it fast, the rubber bands broke off, and I threw them out. So this comb is parts from the original hive. But it's empty. And here's another one.
Oh, look at that. You can see the pattern.
Yeah. Now here's an example of my top bars on my foundationless frames. And now this hive needs a lot of help, as you can see, because there is not a lot of stores, a lot of empty frames.
Roger, is there an advantage to the foundationless frame?
The advantage to foundationless frame, you're not getting anybody else's wax. Bees build it themselves. And I was to a talk where a man said you should take about 1/3 of your frames out every year and replace them. And he was using foundationless frames. So I think I may incorporate that and melt the wax out. Alright, here's another brood and honey, which I'll move back down. There's nothing back there, right?
No. No, these are empties back here. So Stan, talk about that frame right there. Could you, this one right here and the pattern on it. Good, bad, indifferent. Tell us about that.
All right.
You see,
frames we got like that?
There's about most of these frames.
Most of his brood frames look like that one. They have spotty brood, but it's all in one place. It looks like it's hatching out.
A lot of it occurs with your weather, with the change, with all the rain we've had, and also the queens have a tendency to cut down. This particular New World Canolian type of bee.
Can you pull that out and show it to him again, what we were talking about?
Because they know that bad weather was there for a couple of weeks. We had all that rain last month. So the queens are just normally, the colony decides, well, we got to shut down a little bit. We got too many bees. There's not enough nectar coming in. Then all of a sudden we got sugar water coming in. Now they're starting to fill it up. And now her pattern looks like a little, you know, a loose pattern, but it's a good pattern. It's consistent. It's nice and tight. It's not a shotgun brood like she has an egg here, an egg there, and you know, maybe 15, 20 holes empty. There's nothing there. That's a sign of your queen is failing. You just think about requeening her. But in this situation here, this one's borderline. I think with the weather we've had in all the last couple of weeks, I would let her go. I would see if she makes it through the winter. But I would keep an eye on her in early spring and check it.
How many have frames that look like that right now? Mine do.
There should be
they're all full of holes. There's no solid pattern to the point of the weather has been impactful on this. But what you should look at is you'll see larvae all over the place outside of it or in the holes. They should start replacing what they have and start building all their winter bees out. And if you don't see a lot of larvae when you see that pattern, then you might have a little concern.
I took everything of any value out of there.
Now something like this, I would work it to the outside if it was full of nectar or honey, cap. I would leave it in there and work it to the outside. Eventually, I would replace this with a new sheet. And that's up to Roger what he wants to do.
Go ahead, put it on the outside.
Okay, I would put it on the outside here, and time comes he can replace that with a new sheet.
You got a frame floating around here?
Right there on the floor. Right down here.
Oh, okay.
And Roger likes to get it all natural, right?
Yeah,
so they like to
that's what you see. You see,
he puts a strip in
probably about 75% of frames in here were foundationless frames.
They got to be fed to build it out. Right, when you feed them, they'll start building some of that stuff.
Yeah, and you can see how some of them, they build them out not near perfect. And they were put in between tied frames. You get any smoke left? Probably went out.
You got some?
Somebody grab the lighter over there.
I got one.
There you got one.
Beekeeper always got a lighter.
Trying to smoke these down a little bit.
What he has here is the New World Canolians, the black bee that came from Pennsylvania. two we brought over about 20 years ago, did all the research and all that is. This bee is adapted to our type of climate, same as over there. And she worked with this bee for many years at the Ohio State University in Columbus. And I was out there and took her course, and that's where I learned about these bees, how docile and gentle they are, and how adapted they are to our type of climate, because they came from that type of climate. This is what these people do. They go all over the world and take these bees and bring them home and do research with them and see how well they'll go.
See, even my honey frames, this one here has starter on it. So I probably had a small strip of foundation on there and left them draw out the rest. This has some weight to it, so I know that there's some in here that's got honey in. Alright, that one's got quite a bit of honey. Alright. Alright, there's a nice cap frame of honey.
This I would uncap.
You would uncap.
Now you're going to leave that medium
And let
on
them
all
pull it
winter?
down? Uncap
No, I
it?
uncap it, take
Roger.
it home.
Take it
Put
home?
my feeder in there and feed them sugar water.
Yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to
You
put
keep
that
that.
medium
I would
on
extract
top
this,
of my
yeah.
vented cover.
Because it's
And
almost
try to
100%.
encourage them to bring it down
It's
into here, because this
So
is
what
about
happened
empty.
is you got caught late.
But
A little
when he's
bit of green
feeding,
honey, it'll mix.
couldn't it be
Yeah.
just sugar that they...
I got a bunch of those.
Couldn't it be just sugar when
I had to
because
space them out.
he's feeding them also?
Well, this is already capped off before he started feeding them.
Oh, okay.
This is capped off before you fed them, right?
You walked away.
Roger? This was capped off before you fed them, right?
No.
This is...
It may have been, I don't know.
Real life.
Sure looks capped.
Well, I'm going to sample it. I'm going to sample it.
Can you taste the difference?
Oh, yeah.
You can do the water viscosity test. You can do
Roger, I say room honey.
It may be.
How do you know that's honey and not sugar syrup?
the water viscosity.
How do you know that's honey?
Do the microwave
56 years of experience.
56 years of experience.
No bacteria grows in honey, don't worry.
Here's another one.
The thing is that this is the foundationless.
So are you going to leave that on during the winter, Roger? So
Hey, they need food.
So you're going to leave it?
I may, yeah.
See, that's what I did.
another
I
one.
put mine back on. I want them to pull it down. I want them to live on honey that has minerals, and I stored mine in my garage. You know, every once in a while they find it, but I put a cap underneath it and a cap on top and just stack the boxes, and they didn't get in it. You know, I go in there every once in a while and look for,
I got 4 frames of honey in there.
you know, and I took it off only because I was treating, and if I ever wanted to harvest
I
it,
think I'm going to scratch them up.
after I finish, I put it back. Yeah, it's on right now. I have mine on my hive.
A lot of help going down in the second heat.